My name is Erik and I am an attorney that practices at the law firm of Dworkin and Bernstein in Paynesville and Cleveland, Ohio. My general specialty is corporate litigation. I also have areas of practice in oil and gas regulations, zoning law, real estate transaction, and anybody who needs to be sued. I'm one of the litigators at my firm. One of the honors that I have as being an attorney is I was asked to sit on the Paynesville Municipal Court by Judge Michael Cicconetti, and once a month I sit and act as visiting judge when Judge Cicconetti cannot be. Most lawyers typically only go to college for 4 years, have an undergraduate degree in any type of studies. However, most lawyers, or people aspiring to be lawyers, go on and do a pre-law degree, which is usually political science, and then you have a 3-year law degree program at an accredited law school. So the average time for becoming a lawyer is 4 years of undergraduate with 3 years of law school. And I think every aspiring lawyer or someone who wants to be a lawyer goes into law school with the idea that you want to help people. So one of the more enjoyable aspects is just meeting people and getting to know them. And when you try a case in my specialty area of practice where you litigate, you really get to know someone over 1 to 2 or 3 years. And especially when you have to go to trial, you can spend anywhere from 2 days to a week with someone and you really get to know them. So it's really the people that we represent is what I really enjoy. One of the challenges I think for most lawyers is balancing everything. Lawyers typically work anywhere from 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week. Litigation is fast-paced. My wife often asks, "How was your day?" And my typical response to her is, "I don't know, the day's not over," largely because my day can change with a fax, with an email, with a telephone call from the court, or with a client calling. So it's very fast-paced. The day goes by very quickly, and then you take that hat off and become a parent and a husband or wife. So it's very challenging to keep everything in context. With technology the way it is today, many clients enjoy contacting us 24 hours a day, and a good lawyer will get back to their clients. So we have to juggle all that, and that's most likely one of the most challenging of being a lawyer. Most lawyers typically begin anywhere from 7 in the morning and quit their day by 5 or 6, although with litigation, we're typically doing things a majority of our day. But you typically come in, you're checking your emails. With the advent of emails that you can get on your phone, you can keep up with those fairly quickly. But the first hour is catching up, looking at what you have to do. If you have a trial, that day changes a little bit because you have to prepare for that. And a typical preparation for a trial, depending on the complexity of it, is anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. A typical litigation case usually takes anywhere from a year to 2 years to put from start to finish. And so the typical day is dealing with telephone calls. I would say on an average, an attorney is on the phone 2 out of 8 hours a day, if not more. A lot of my time is drafting pleadings, which is something that you file with the court to have a ruling by the judge. And we also deal with writing correspondence to clients and taking in new clients. So for a typical day, probably 20% to 30% is on the phone. Another 50% would be dealing with, in my category of law, writing documents to file with the court. And then the rest of the day would be tending to matters such as obtaining new clients or dealing with items that are in the firm, depending on your role in the law firm, which is where I'm at as a law firm. If anyone who's watching this would like to be a lawyer, first and foremost, I work at Dworkin and Bernstein. You could contact me and I can talk to you individually. What I would really recommend in the high school year is debate class and philosophy, if those are offered. The really good lawyers have good speaking skills with people. You have to articulate well. You have to explain yourself. When I interview new lawyers in our firm, we always ask the question, can you think on your feet? Because there's a judge typically in my category of law that will ask you a question that you didn't contemplate, and you have to be able to think on your feet and react quickly. In school, I highly recommend extracurricular activities because law school is really a building and culmination of high school, college, and then the law school itself. So being in things that are social and being in things such as politics, government, and debate would be highly recommended for this field. Well, in law, there's always 2 sides. Well, there's actually 3. There's my side, opposing counsel side, and the judge's side. And law is not something where you're always right. So law is one of the fields where you are going to get setbacks. If you're set back, you have avenues, and one of the keys to that is figuring out how you defeat a setback. And there are procedures to do that. You can re-argue cases by filing new pleadings. One of the things that you just have to keep in mind is one of my former partners, when I was at a different firm in Michigan before I moved back to Ohio, to my home state, there were three things he said. And one of the prime things was, we don't create the facts. So in the field of law, you're given a set of facts. Your job as a lawyer is to argue those facts and apply the law to those facts. So I would be lying to you as students to say that I've never had setbacks. There are setbacks in law, and you cannot allow that to impede you from doing your job. You just deal with it, and the law is something that is ever changing. A case can come out and change the law, or a precedent that you thought was there. You just have to deal with it and artfully argue around that, or explain why your case is distinguishable from the current law. But there are times that you'll be told you're wrong. One of the nice aspects of litigation is you have about 60,000 other things that you have to deal with. So that setback, as long as you explain it to the client and explain to them what happened, you don't have to agree with it, but it's like life. Sometimes somebody tells you something, you may not agree with it, but you have to follow it. And that's how law is. And if you have a setback, you just deal with it and move forward. I think having outside things such as family are key. It's one of my prime aspects, to go home to my family, which is first and foremost one of the most important aspects of my life. And to have other things in your life such as sports or activities that you do and enjoy, and can kind of not focus 100% of your time on your career. When I chose law, I originally wanted to be a doctor. And in high school, I was not the best at math, and chemistry really frightened me. So I don't know if any of you are going through that. Lo and behold, I chose law because of the aspect of arguing. My parents said I was argumentative, not in a mean way, but I had a way to argue cases even before them when I was a child. But one of the things that I learned in college was, hey, chemistry wasn't that bad because I had to take chemistry, and I actually was pretty good at it. And so as I went through my career, I think what my recommendation for all students are, and I've worked my prior careers, I used to work at a youth shelter before I went to college, and I actually worked at a juvenile prison through law school. And I would tell those kids and any other youth that I'm involved with, I say, what you want to do is, you want to ask yourself a question. Is what I'm doing or what I'm choosing to do, does it seem like something I enjoy? If so, that's a career. If it seems like something you don't enjoy, that's a job. When I was out of high school, I stocked shelves. That was a job. It was a means to an end. When I got to college, I worked college-related jobs. And I enjoyed those, but it's not something that I could do the rest of my life. What I do now is something that I greatly enjoy. There are days, 10% of the time, there are days I come home and I really have had an awful day. My wife typically will ask me questions, and I need about half an hour to defragment from the day because I'm typically talking all day long and I don't want to talk. But what I recommend to everybody is look to something that you're good at and look at something that you enjoy, because if you enjoy your career, you're going to have fun doing it for the rest of your life. One of the things I tell my children is, I've worked jobs where I've clocked in, I've worked jobs where I couldn't get out because it was walled in and I was one of the guards. What I do now, I can leave, I can go do things. At the end of the day, I don't want to. I want to be at my desk, I want to be in court, and I have freedom to do my career. And for the most part, really be my own boss. There are partners in my firm, which I'm one, but we all are a family. And I think when you have a career that you enjoy and you have a support group of those around you, that's pivotal, because really you spend a majority of your time at your job and the rest with your family. And you need those both to be really good. And the firm that I'm at is one of the best, I feel, in the state of Ohio, and I enjoy coming here. And everyone that I work with is family. So I recommend what you do is you look to what you're good at, not to what other people tell you you're good at, but look to what you enjoy and do that, because if you enjoy it, you'll give 110%.